The first American flag was designed here. It wasn't just home to Betsy Ross, it was also home to artists and shop workers. It is also said that Betsy Ross herself is laid to rest right next to her home. This prison is said to house malicious entities. My name is Nicholas. I am a young paranormal investigator in search of proof of the spirit world. I am also a person that can easily sense and feel spirit energy around me. I am joined by my uncle and cameraman, William, and my father and executive producer, Nick. We will search for ghosts at some of the world's most creepiest haunts. This is a haunted legacy. For this mission, my father Nick and I are traveling to the legendary city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in search of ghosts at one of the oldest homes in the city. So this is the Betsy Ross house. It was built in the 1740s, and it wasn't just home to Betsy Ross, it was also home to artists and shop workers. And then this rear section was added 100 years later. And then Betsy Ross designed the first American flag here. And she could possibly be here at her former home to this day. So let's go look around. Betsy Ross was born on January 1st, 1752, and she was the 8th out of 17 children, of whom only 9 survived childhood. She grew up in a household where the plain dress and the strict discipline of the Quakers controlled her life. Andrew Griscom, her great-grandfather, who was a member of the Quaker family and also a carpenter, had emigrated in 1680 from England. Betsy learned to sew from her great-aunt, Sarah Elizabeth Ann Griscom, and that's what made her design the first American flag. And then sadly she passed away in 1836. We entered the house. I conducted a brief recording session with my voice recorder. And like what happened at the Fire Island Lighthouse, I couldn't really take out my ghost meter because of the high levels of security. Unfortunately, our second cameraman, William, couldn't make it for this mission because he had to work at his business. So far, I wasn't receiving anything yet. And also like the Fire Island Lighthouse, the Betsy Ross house was open during tour hours. It is also said that Betsy Ross herself is laid to rest right next to her home. Both floors of the Betsy Ross house were getting overly crowded with people, so I wrapped up my recording sessions. When the both of us finished searching on both floors of the house, we headed down the stairs to the basement. My father Nick and I searched all around. There were still some tourists around us, so we tried our best to be as brief and thorough as possible. The basement also had an ominous feeling to it, similar to that of Katie's bar. I sat on the old stairwell and began an EVP session. But when I was about to press the record button, this happens. The lights above my head started flickering for some unexplained reason. We both don't know how this occurred, but the instincts in my gut felt that this could have been paranormal. Then we finished the rest of our ghost hunt outside the house. I walked towards the rear end of the house. Alright, now I'm going to do an EVP session outside and see if I can hear Betsy Ross. Alright, Betsy, are you here at your former home? My name is Nicholas. I'm here to help you. You know that, right? Can you move on from your house now? Everybody knows you left a legacy here. I tried to connect with the spirit of Betsy Ross one final time. One more session for good luck. Alright, Betsy, are you outside now? Can you make your presence known to a young paranormal investigator? We reviewed our EVP sessions. Let's try that. Alright, Betsy, are you outside now? Can you make your presence known to a young paranormal investigator? No, okay. The lights were flickering a couple of times in this house. And I got it all on video. Let's play it back. What's that? I thought I heard something. Let's play that one more time. Nothing, that's just shuffling. As it turns out, we didn't catch any voices or sounds on my voice recorder. One thing you always have to remember is that when you conduct any ghost investigation at any business or tourist site during the daytime, you might be sidetracked by the other people inside or around the premises. Then the both of us concluded our search here at the Betsy Ross house. So, unfortunately for this mission, I couldn't bring my ghost meter because the security might think that I'm holding a bomb. So I brought my voice recorder instead, and my thermal camera. After we searched at the Betsy Ross house, we were both told that there is another haunted place in Philadelphia. The both of us now took a drive to the next haunted place on our list. So we just drove about a few miles now, and now we're here at this place. This place has featured many paranormal shows like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, and Daily Possessions. So ladies and gentlemen, my father Nick and I have made it to the infamous Eastern State Penitentiary. Let the hunting begin. This massive prison was built in 1829 by the British architect John Haviland. The different cell blocks that are laid out are like that of a wagon wheel. The penitentiary also housed insidious inmates such as Willie Sutton and the one and only Al Capone. A meeting was held at Benjamin Franklin's house in 1787. The meeting was about developing a new type of prison. And then in 1971, the prison closed its doors. Today the prison is now open for tours and ghost investigations. This prison is said to house malicious entities. I am willing to take a huge calculated risk with my father in conducting a paranormal investigation. Since the building was open during tour hours like the Betsy Ross house, we decided to take the brief tour before we started our ghost hunt. During the tour, my father and I didn't feel any paranormal energy. One other thing you have to remember is that ghosts are said to be more active at night than they are in the daytime, and if there's less people around. When the tour was over, we got our gear together. So if you look over here this way at this wall, inmates would be tied up, and if an inmate was bad to a security guard, they'd be tied up to this wall and they would get cold ice poured on their head. And as time went by, they would have thin layers of ice on their back and they would freeze. Very cruel treatment at this prison. And that's the main entrance right there. Let's keep looking. That's the watchtower up there. The security guards will look down at the inmates if they would try to escape, like an ordinary prison. I brought out my thermal imaging camera on my iPad mini and began taking several photos. Now this is one of the cell blocks at Eastern State Penitentiary, so let's see if I can feel anything. Look at all these different cells. They're all rusty and decrepit. This prison took more than a decade to complete. We searched all around the prison. We walked through several cell blocks. We now headed towards the famous Al Capone cell. So now I'm about to look at Al Capone's cell, right here. He had a very fancy cell. Let's just see. When I looked inside Al Capone's cell, I wasn't feeling any energy. Very, very, very cool person he was. Good stuff. Take a look, Dad. And that's the sign right there, Al Capone's cell. I'm sure you're a very, very dark entity, Al Capone, if you're haunted here. We headed up the flight of stairs. The second floor felt more intimidating than the floor below. We kept examining different cells. I went into another area where there was not a lot of people and did another session. Alright, let me do another EVP session. Very quiet down here. Reminds me of Kings Park, Dad, the psych center, right? Don't you think? Okay, now I'm going to look in the gangster cell right now and do another session. Alright, who's trapped in here? Any inmates in this cell? I'm Nicholas with my father, Nick. Let's see. I'm surprised the ghost meter's not going off. This place is very, very haunted, and I don't know why it's not going off. Who knows where the spirits are? The inside was getting too crowded, so we went back outside. Do another EVP session. Alright. I talked with a soft voice to make it not seem like I'm provoking Al Capone. Al Capone, are you out here? My name is Nicholas. I mean you no harm. That's the watchtower right there. See if I can take out my ghost meter a minute. I sat at one of the picnic tables and tried to communicate with the spirit of Al Capone. Al Capone, are you out here? Al Capone, I know what happened. You had a fancy cell in Eastern State. That's a pretty big deal. The plane flying above me was interfering with my recording session. Then I did one last EVP session outside the penitentiary. Let's roll on an EVP. Okay, what inmates are outside here? Any spirits reside here at Eastern State Penitentiary? I started feeling the presence of something dark. Oh, I'm starting to pick up something. I feel some energy. I'm very spiritual. I can feel it. Alright, let's try that. Okay, what inmates are outside here? Any spirits reside here at Eastern State Penitentiary? Nothing. Outside you can't really pick up anything. With a major amount of recording sessions and film footage captured, we now wrapped up our investigation at Eastern State Penitentiary. Once we left the building, we went across the street. When I got across the street, my ghost meter started spiking. Ooh, that's the ghost meter's going up. Now that we just left Eastern State, it's going up. We're right across the street from here. That's unexplainable. I initially thought it was caused by me holding it too close to my voice recorder. The energy also felt more intense across the street. This experience could have been caused by either A, a ghost, or B, the utility poles. So, we tried looking around Eastern State Penitentiary to see if we could feel anything. We were distracted by the tour and everything. So hopefully we caught something, and hopefully it will turn out good, and I do believe that there's something dark in there, and Al Capone's trapped there. And I'm really glad I got a chance to check it out with you, Dad. Mission accomplished. After we left the penitentiary, we decided to show our footage to William to see what his perception was. I interviewed him face to face and began asking him questions. So William, we just came back from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Betsy Ross house at Eastern State Penitentiary. So I want to talk to you about Eastern State a minute, that prison. So we went there and we did like a little search, and Ghost Adventures was there, you know, like Zach and everyone, and you couldn't come with us. So what are your thoughts about this place? Do you have any options or no?
It looks interesting to visit, but you can't really have too many opinions if you're not there. But it looks like a nice place to go visit.
Yeah, like what do you think of the history about like Al Capone and all that?
Yeah, that was interesting because he was a well-known criminal. Everybody knew of him and still does, but...
About the Betsy Ross house where, you know, she's beside the first American flag.
Yeah,
what do you think?
That was good. I don't know why they put that in particular, except for the fact that maybe she was a seamstress, maybe. Who knows, that could be the reason.
It has taken us years to finally commence one of our ghost hunts in a different area of the world. Although most of the missions we've done so far have been filmed on Long Island, we were still able to enjoy this mission in Philadelphia. We first searched at the said-to-be-haunted Betsy Ross house. The first American flag was designed here. Throughout most of our time there, we weren't capturing any evidence until we got into the basement and the lights flickered above my head. Then afterwards, we moved our ghost hunt to the notoriously haunted Eastern State Penitentiary. Towards the end of our ghost hunt, I started picking up a dark presence not far from the watchtower. Although we didn't really capture any EVPs due to the other tourists in the area, we were still able to pick up the heavy energy with our own body senses. And without a doubt, we have strong creed that Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is certainly one of the most ideal hotspots in the United States to find ghosts.